reflux ratio. Mr. Fletcher. Infinite. Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. But your ventriloquist won't be there on exam day.
I'd like to have a remote for it. I'd like to get a little more involved with the technical aspects of it.
The thread's stripped. Threads got stripped on the part that you screw onto that to screw your microphone holder on.
I see.
And so
Maybe next time you come back,
yeah,
if you choose to come back.
I would choose. Yeah, actually, I got a refrigerator over here.
Yeah. But these mics are real nice.
Yeah.
They work really good. They're not the best, but they're like really good, like popular as far as a budget mic goes.
Yeah. Record the audio separate. So I got the audio that the camera records, and then I got a separate audio track, and Filmora will sync them together.
Just to try to acquire decent lighting in this in the atmosphere.
And I think bold, but like the one I watched where you got some knives from someplace that you tried to cancel the order, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you ended up deciding you liked them and we're going to keep them. There was a section in there where you had the video speeded up and music under the voice, and just because my background is audio, maybe the music was a little too high.
Oh yeah, that's a bad habit of mine. See, I equate the video audio world right now. Let's call it that.
Sure.
And that can be anything, right? To a drug. And in all different ways, a drug.
Oh yeah.
So you got your YouTube's probably like the heroin. You know what I mean? But then with that drug, you have all the gateway drugs and the pre-drugs going to that drug. And one of the things that's hard for me to kick or not kick is grasping too much editing, too much additives, too many things, too many pop-ups, too much this, or not enough.
Yeah.
And it always feels like not enough if you're not putting many in. And you feel like, okay, this video is a desert.
Yeah.
Versus the next video is China. All the lights are everywhere.
Yeah.
Vegas, it's too much.
Yeah.
I'll catch myself watching hours upon hours of YouTube videos on lighting, on audio, on channel endorsement, on channel promotion, on why is my channel not this? How do I get this many views? And when you start watching too many, it becomes mush.
Well, and they can contradict each other. I'll tell you, if you want, I would love to just to have the chops and something I could put in my profile wherever it comes up. You want me to put my ears on a mix or something, because I got 3 different audio programs I use to mix stuff.
Yeah, I would love to learn it too, but for the most part, having somebody that has more of an expert aspect of it all, or a viewpoint on it, and say, hey, like you just said, your music's too loud in this. It's flooding you.
Yeah.
Because I'll rewatch my videos, and like my wife will walk in the room and I'm watching my video, and she's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." How do you get better?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the only way to get better. I'm not watching because I'm enjoying it half the time. Because half the time I'm cringe. I'm like, why did I do this?
Yeah, you have to be careful that you don't get too critical. Listen to it. How's it going? Is it funny? Is it interesting?
Just having that third party that is disconnected from your content is going to help squash the boring stuff. Because as soon as they get boring, they know, okay, I'm bored. I've got to get some of this out.
Well, there's some, I put it up, and within 24 hours, there's over 400 views. But you look at the analytics, and it's a 4.5 minute video. Typical listing time is less than 30 seconds. So people are clicking on the video, they're watching 30 seconds of it.
Bored.
Like, screw this,
Yeah.
And so, to me, what you got to do is, why are they turning off? Watch the video, everybody's turning it off at 32 seconds in. What happens at 32 seconds in?
It gets boring.
Yeah.
The hook.
Yeah.
It's the hardest part is having a hook, finding the hook, having the hook, and utilizing the hook properly.
Yeah.
Because you could have the hook at the wrong place in the video, which is after 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And you don't
exactly.
You don't score.
We wouldn't get to the guest until like 12 minutes into the podcast. They're not going to keep listening.
You can't act like you're Johnny Carson.
No.
Until you're Johnny Carson.
Exactly. Yeah, well,
and Johnny Carson can start and do 12 minutes before introducing the star. Technology has a mind of its own. But you'd be amazed if you sort of went into the podcast rabbit hole as a comedian.
Oh, yeah.
You would be like, are you kidding me? Why did this not exist when I was in the circles?
Well, which is the title was Reunions and Dan Who. Talking about me. The fact that it's like, why are you still talking about me? I've been gone for 6 months. Just move on.
Oh, the podcast that you left, so their butt hurt.
Right. But I'm listening to it, and it's like there is nothing here to make me want to come back.
Now, are you just baking, or are you shticking too? Are you like?
It's just bacon. It's pretty much straight up.
Come on, man! You gotta be a jackass.
Well, sometimes I did it like the one that's on right now, the coconut macaroons. I noticed when watching the video, there's like this cabinet over my head that sometimes it's open, sometimes it's closed.
Yeah.
And so I'd put, it's open. Now it's closed.
You've got that straight, hardcore, old school comedy.
Oh yeah.
And bred in you.
Oh yeah.
Because every time, like when we were talking that evening when we first met at the blues show, or before it really, I was just vibing this. It just was taking me back.
Yeah.
And I was loving it.
Well,
because you got Gen Xers out there like me, of course, boomers, but Gen Xers, not so much millennials, but Gen Xers will catch it.
Yeah. And she's like, nobody I know will listen to a podcast that has boomers in the title. Like, fair point.
Well, let me think. Most of the podcasts are millennials. They're not even Gen Xers, except for Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
But I love Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
The guy's hilarious. He's a treasure. And his talent and his timing and his ability in drama.
Well,
it's phenomenal.
The Outsider, based on a Stephen King story. It's I think it's on Netflix. It is. He plays a guy who is accused of killing a child because there's some monster, whatever, that took on his appearance and killed this child, and people saw him, and so they're like, "Well, it's you," because we've got him. As an example of a very dramatic role.
Oh yeah,
Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
Well, Ozark. The thing that was cool about Ozark is kind of like comedy, kind of
and it's Jason Bateman comedy.
Yeah,
right down his alley.
Yeah.
Which is not dark, but kind of like dreary comedy.
And very dry.
Yeah. I love him.
That's why his character in Horrible Bosses was hilarious.
I hate to say it. No, I don't want to say it's one of my favorites, but I liked it. Was when he was in that movie with Will Smith, and Will Smith was a superhero.
Oh yeah, Hancock. I love that movie.
Yeah, that was a great movie. But I was going to say, I liked his character in that, too.
Yeah, the whole uncomfortable.
Yeah. He's really good in this one movie. I can't remember. This is terrible because I'm going to have one of those nights where, because I'm a movie buff, too, but I have a real bad memory of recalling names of the movies sometimes and of the characters, but I know what you're talking about. And I know what I want to talk about, but I can't. I say it all the time where I treat my brain like a computer.
Yeah.
And I only allow my brain to utilize so much memory of in certain areas. So if I deem certain things superfluous information, and sometimes it's not, and that's when I'm struggling for a name of something that I probably should have given more time and memory to.
Yeah.
You got Andrew Schultz, you got Rick Glassman, you got Theo Vaughn, and you got so many. And they are all what appear to be millennials, not even Gen Xers.
Oh, yeah. Looking at the stats out there, the boomer generation are the least likely to listen to a podcast.
And what do you think that is? Closed mind?
Close mind, and it's, all these
Not
people
worth their
afraid
time.
of technology, which I don't understand. I mean, I started working on using a PC in 1985, and so all the there's a steep learning curve to get started, and then after that, it's just you're like increments.
Yeah.
And I love the technology. I want to know how to do it.
But if you step away from it too long, you get too far away from it. It goes so fast.
Yeah, I guess that could be.
It's kind of like you're in a car that's kind of moving slow, and you say, "I'm going to get out and I'm going to walk next to the car."
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that car speeds up
Yeah.
and speeds up, and then it gets so far, and you let it get so far, and you're like, "I don't want to walk anymore, but I don't want to run to catch that car,
Yeah.
so I'm going to just stop walking."
You stop. Yeah.
And I'm finding more technology to waste my money on every day. Because the next investment for me is going to be I think it's a Canon 500 something camera.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really good 4K camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll have to wirelessly do the remotes to it, treat it, and not do it on my iPhone. And then I want to download it into a Mac, a MacBook,
But
and do my editing on a computer.
why?
Okay, so right now, I got decent sized hands.
Yeah.
So do you, though,
Yeah.
because you're as big as me.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
There's a little bit. Yeah.
I do all that editing on a little screen on my phone.
Yeah.
It's this big. I can hardly see
Okay.
the actual picture. I definitely can't hear well, and I'm manipulating these scales and all these things on my cell phone, and I'm good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Not great, but I'm good at it, and I'm learning it really well. But I'm like, could you imagine if I had a 17-inch Mac screen? Not much.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get like the camera and a video kit for $730.
That's not bad.
No, and it can give you very good professional images.
Yeah.
If you use it for just the simple settings.
Yeah. I want an XLR. It's got the 3-pin plug.
The professional stuff.
Yeah. But because that's my world.
That's $60 microphone.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
And it's a
talking about
great
$600 microphone.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference.
Yeah. Then you get like a Neumann U47, which is the microphone Frank Sinatra recorded on. That's going to be literally 10 times as much.
Right.
But 99.97% of the people out there in the world are not going to be able to go to the cheaper one.
And
There's no difference in it. It's just, but there are people out there who want to say, well, yeah, I use a $1,250 microphone. Well, good for you.
right. And then all the other ones are like, what's that thing in the middle of his table?
It blocks his face.
Yeah. And you can't, on this table, you can't have anything.
Right.
Because you do this, it's thunder.
Oh, yeah.
It's thunder. That's why I got to have these or something booming from the ceiling. Because, hey, this is Rich with WKRP. When I'm kind of being serious.
Yeah.
It's not often, but it does occur.
And they became, when I was working in a recording studio back in the 80s, that suddenly became all the rage. It just, you can tell the difference. And while a lot of people, and maybe this will be true of your camera, people may not be able to identify, oh, that was shot on an iPhone, that was shot on a Canon. I believe that up to a certain, that you can go too crazy, but to a certain point, while people can't point to it, there's something more appealing about the video shot on a better camera.
Yeah.
Or the audio recorded with a better microphone.
This is crappy lighting, but it's lighting nonetheless.
Yeah.
That's just, that's growth.
Yeah.
Because if you're not trying to improve your craft or you're get any better, then you're guaranteed it's just gonna be a hobby.
Yeah.
I've got it set up out here virtually to where I can almost live out here. I don't have a shower or a shitter, so I have to go look at my wife, and I love my wife dearly, so I don't have to worry about that, but I gotta look at her every time I take a shower and a shit. I had a couple friends that were like, no, that's a stupid idea, and then I did it, and they're like, can you do this in my house?
Because, so I would, whatever help I could be in terms of audio, because that's something that I start looking at. I would love to, make that my business, is to help people who are doing YouTube videos and things, you send me your stuff, I'll sweeten it for you. I'll make it sound all that sharper. And so, you know, if you wanted to send me stuff and
I would love to see what you could do.
Yeah.
You know, because like I said, I think there's a point in what I do where you would start dabbling in redundancy.
Yeah.
Or dabbling in, was it that important to waste Dan's time and my time or money or whatever? You got to make that call.
Yeah.
But when is that? You know what I mean? Well, it's when you listen to it and it sounds like shit on your TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my sound's not great on TV. You know, I don't love it. Sometimes it's, but that's another thing I don't think you can pick on YouTube. Sometimes I'll watch a video that I have that downloaded in 4K, and sometimes I have a video downloaded in 360. And I don't know why or how.
Yeah. Well, because like I'm going on around. I work. I'm part time at my church running sound for one of the services, and they shoot video, and we do a separate audio mix for the video that is, you know, striped on the SD card. But then I take I can also pull off a multi-track recording. So like every microphone channel recorded separately, no processing, no, you know, it's all the same level.
And you mess with effects?
Because that's
effects and music?
Yeah. And so what?
So you can seamlessly drop in the right track in the right moment, and you would potentially have access to like top 10 hits and stuff like that. Because that's
maybe not so much that as unless it was like a, you know, karaoke version or something. But
yeah,
with Epidemic Sound, I'm using an Epidemic Sound subscription that somebody else is paying for. So as long as he's paying for it, I'm going to keep using it.
Yeah.
And Filmora has hundreds of original, well, like that song on that video of my dog, that's from Epidemic Sound. That's an actual, you know, some recording artist.
Yeah. CapCut's got quite a library itself. The problem with its library is it's sometimes that library is too good, and you get caught loading a song that's not copyrighted for YouTube, but is copyrighted for TikTok.
Well,
see,
it's all pre-approved.
You may agree with me. I don't know. To me, you ever think that sometimes that stuff is so it's like stepping on their own feet, overreaching with the copyright stuff, because it's like you could be stopping a talented content creator from going viral by not using your music, and he had to select something that was subpar.
Yeah.
So now that just stays in the ether as garbage.
Yeah.
But you could have been that one step that sent him viral, and then you go viral with that guy.
Yeah. Well, so
how does that make sense that they decide, because it's like they're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't realize it.
Or I heard somewhere recently, I think it was on Conan O'Brien's podcast, the Rolling Stones song Satisfaction is the most expensive song to license for a film or a television show. Of course,
Mick Jagger's a prick.
And so the thing is, well, okay, yeah, you want, you know, $10 million to use your song in this TV show, but what if you only charge, you know, $100,000 and you get 1,000 people using it? It's the same money.
What it is yeah, you didn't get that. Well, let's not use Mick Jagger, because you know that's just wastes too much money. But yeah, you didn't get that $100 subscription to some music outlet that downloads all these popular songs. Yeah, you didn't get that $100, but you also didn't get attached to a viral video.
Yes.
That is going to bring you in so much more attention. Yeah. And now your music is the most highly selected music in all of these editing processes, because everybody's like, I want my video to be just like his. Yeah. So I've got to use that song.
Yeah.
And then now those people, you're getting royalties from maybe not all the editing platforms, but a lot of the ones you're on legitimately.
And how many times does somebody hear a song and it happens to be all the time, like I'll be watching a movie and some song, you know, that I haven't heard in a long time will come up, or some song I never heard of before will come up. I'll pay to download because I heard it on this video.
Yeah.
And yeah. It's
and I just don't get it. But to me, it gets back to that kind of small-minded, small-town thinking.
But on the other hand, as you know, in my days as a performer, those people come into you and want you to work for free but you'll get a lot of exposure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like how about I get the money, you get the exposure.
Right.
that it, you know, after a while that
It is a risk and reward
Yeah.
scenario. So if I was, say, a music talent, burgeoning music talent, that knew I was good, had good stuff, I would put it out there for free.
Yeah.
Because nickel diming gets you nowhere.
Yeah.
At least in my world, from my perspective, my point of view, nickel diming has never gotten me anything good in life.
Well, the Grateful Dead. Grateful Dead did not care if you came and recorded their concert and released it
Right.
as a bootleg because
And
More
name
people
me
can come to the
a band
concert,
more
yeah.
popular than the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
There really isn't.
they're not in the way they were popular.
Exactly.
Yeah, that they, you know, people
They have their own genre.
live their lives based on where Grateful Dead was touring. So.
Yeah, I mean, how many bands can say that they literally created a whole world, but primarily America, but really the whole world music culture?
Yeah.
A culture.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get some like Fish and those bands that kind of copycatted, but not really, because Fish is great at what they do too.
Yeah.
But they kind of like jumped into that. I'm going to create my own genre, my own culture. You know, and then you have, you know, he just died, Jimmy Buffett. You know, their culture.
Yeah.
And Kenny Chesney kind of jumped on Jimmy Buffett's culture a little bit, just like Fish did on there, because it was similar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, are you familiar with Little Feat?
No.
They were kind of like
Little Feet?
Yeah.
Are you showing your age,
It
Dan?
might be, but
What are they?
find the song Dixie Chicken.
That sounds familiar.
If you be my Dixie Chicken, I'll be your Tennessee Lamb.
Yeah.
And then one night in the lobby of the Commodore Hotel, like something the bartender said he don't do well. And as he handed me a drink, he began to sing a song. Every boy there at the bar began to sing.
Oh,
But
Jesus.
they're like that. It's like
Are you one of those where you know the words to most songs?
I know the words of a lot of songs. I
Yeah.
love music.
See, that's where me,
Yeah.
I didn't type that into my computer memory
Mm.
whatsoever. Now, do I love songs? You know, I only
I've
know
heard
one
that so
song.
many times.
I only know one song basically front to end.
Mm.
You're not going to guess it, but maybe you would if you tried. But Hotel California.
Mm.
It's the only song I think I know,
I believe I have that on black.
and I think it's the only song I know. Only song. I feel that's an accomplishment that I've made it this
Yeah.
far, and I like music.
Yeah.
My Pandora or my iTunes is on all day long, nonstop.
Yeah.
But you saw my attention span for music.